Welcome to Life Notes today. Thanks for joining us. Let me ask you a question. How's your vision? Now, I didn't ask you about your eyesight. I asked you about your vision. Most of us use those two words interchangeably. But today, I want to make a distinction between eyesight and vision. You see, your eyesight relates to what you see with your eyes. But vision has to do with the picture of your future. Some people might say your dream of the future. Helen Keller, the blind woman, was asked, what would be worse than being born blind? And she said, having sight without vision. I heard about two shoe salesmen who were sent on their first assignment to a poor country. One of the men called the home office saying, I'm coming home. No one here wears shoes. The other man called his manager and said, man, I've hit a gold mine. Send me all the shoes you have. No one here wears shoes. There are three types of people. Those who who wait for things to happen, and those who make things happen, and those who say, what happened? Some people wait for fate or life to take its course. They say, whatever will be, will be. But there are other people who pursue a dream or a vision of a desirable future. A positive vision of the future, I think, is one of the most powerful resources you can have in life. You see, direction tells us where we're headed, how we're going to get there. God gives us direction. I heard about a guy that God helped him to discover his life's purpose. The Message paraphrase of Proverbs 29 says, if people can't see what God is doing, they stumble all over themselves. But when they attend to what He reveals, they are most blessed. You see, direction tells us where and how, but it's purpose or vision that tells us why. Why did God create you at this particular time? Why did He put you where He put you? Why did He give you the skills that He's given to you? What's the vision that you dream about? William Barclay says, there are two great days in a person's life. The day that we're born and the day we discover why. So, how do you get a clear vision? A God-blessed vision. I think that begins in prayer. You need to spend time alone asking God to show you His picture of your future. You see, friend, God knows the future and He knows you. So you got to let the God who knows you show you your future. Now, the picture is going to become clearer as you study God's revelation in the Bible. When we don't follow God's revelation, we can head off in many directions. We don't have an idea about our life purpose and how to get there. We're like a herd of wild horses running in every direction. Perhaps you've seen the children's picture cartoon of Winnie the Pooh and Eeyore. Pooh's friends ask him for help in finding his way. Pooh asks him, where are you going? Eeyore says, well, I don't have any particular place in mind. And Pooh says to him, I guess it doesn't matter how you go. I agree with the person who said, if you want to know what God thinks, you need to know what God says. You discover what God says in His Word. Now, don't be like the person trying to find an answer in the Bible who simply closes his eyes, throws the Bible open, and puts his finger down on a verse. Look at the totality of the Scriptures. Compare and contrast the verses. Look at the context. When you have an idea of what God is saying to you out of the Bible, talk to a trusted Christian friend, someone that you can depend upon. Get their feedback. You see, friend, my observation is that clarity of vision is a process. It occurs over time. This is why we observe wisdom in many older people and many experienced people. They've sifted their dreams through the screen of experience. Vision is only a dream until you act on it. Some people have great visions and they're being used mightily of God, but they They have sifted it through experience. Those who are just sitting around waiting will never get it. James says faith without works is dead. You can't step into the future because you don't have any dreams. You're not acting on them. You have to act on your dreams. Some of you may remember Paul Harvey, the famous radio commentator. Well, Paul told the story many years ago about Ray Blankenship, who was preparing his breakfast one morning, and he happened to look out the window and saw a small little girl being swept along by the flooded drainage ditch. Well, Ray knew that further down the stream, the drainage ditch was going to go underneath the road. So he jumps up, he dashes out the door, and he runs along that drainage ditch, trying to get ahead of that little child that's being carried along by the current. Eventually, he hurls himself down into the water. And as Ray surfaced, he tried to grab on to the hand of the little girl. Within just a few feet of the culvert, he touched her. Then he felt something on the bank, and he clung to it desperately, hoping it was a piece of wood or something that he could get a hold of. Now, by the time the fire department rescuers arrived, Ray had saved the girl. He was heralded as a hero. But you see, Ray faced a greater risk than many people understood. Ray Blankenship couldn't swim. But he didn't save her because he couldn't swim. He saved her because he could see. You see, friend, vision gives life. God's vision gives life. The Gospels tell us of Jesus healing many blind people. In Mark chapter 8, Jesus touches the blind eyes of one man, and he asks the man, "What do you see?" The man says, "I see people, but they look like trees walking around." The writer says, once more Jesus put his hands on the man's eyes, and then the eyes were opened, and his sight was restored, and he saw everything clearly. You see, there is a difference between eyesight and vision. You can have perfect eyesight, and you can still have a blurry vision for your life. Steps to a clearer vision begin with prayer and Bible study. But then you must put your faith to work. You must act out your faith. You must walk in the Christian walk in your daily life. My personal experience is vision is clarified as we live the Christ life day by day. We can't sit and wait for God's vision. I have never found much success in sitting in a cave with my legs crossed and praying for God's vision. My personal experience is God speaks to me as He guides me day by day. Now, please understand, most of us do not get a foolproof, crystal clear vision right at first. Some of us would say, our vision is never crystal clear. It's never a perfect vision. But friend, remember Abraham? He starts out not knowing where God's vision would take him. But look what happened. He became a father of a great nation. He became a father of the people of Israel. So don't sit waiting. Put your faith to work. Ask God to show you His vision for you. Dare to dream dreams. Dare to ask God to show you your future. And then step into it. Step into it in prayer. Step into it in the Word. Step into it as you serve God day by day. Because listen, friend, your future awaits you. And it's the future that God has for you. Go get it, and God bless you.